on Sky 107.1 is that platform you can rely on for credible, undiluted, and unbiased analysis. It is thought-provoking. It speaks nothing but the truth to whoever is involved. Our presenters remain impartial and are only interested in truth-telling. The program comes your way Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's speak from our hearts, heal our wounds, and build Mama Liberia for good.
Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up. Labirens, oh Labirens, oh Labirens, wake up. Labirens, oh Labirens, oh Labirens, wake up. Labirens, oh Labirens, oh Labirens, wake up.
Oh, let the life wake up, oh, wake up and do something. Oh, let the life try to settle things the way we need to be. Maybe it's all we need in our love and control. Mama, I love you.
Wake up, my people. Can't you hear the song? Can't you see the shining sun? You've been sleeping so long. No time for guns, no time to do wrong. Say the war is gone. My people be strong.
Oh, let the life wake up, oh, wake up and do something. Oh, let the life try to settle things the way we need to be. Maybe it's all we need in our love and control. Mama, I love you.
Good morning and a pleasant welcome to another interesting edition of the program, straight from the heart on Sky 107.1. Today is the 8th day of July 2021. My name is Matthias Labindi. At 8 o'clock this morning from 8 to 9 o'clock, we're going to be speaking to the Managing Director of the Liberia Met Health Product Regulatory Authority, Madam Katoria Smith. She joins us this morning to tell us about the operation of the LMHRA. Periodically, we do these kind of interviews to inform our public where this entity is in terms of the dispensation of their duties. So, Madam Smith joins us this morning to tell us you have been following some ads on radios about awareness against people selling drugs in buckets and other issues regarding health products in this country. We're going to be speaking with her this morning from 8 to 9 o'clock. Before that, we have a number of issues to highlight. President George Weah has withdrawn the appointment of Dr. Slewan from the higher education, the National Commission on Higher Education. What led to that? We're going to be looking into that as well. We're going to be bringing you some information we've gathered about the Liberia Electricity Corporation, what led to the protest, what is currently happening. There's more internal thing going on there, that there needs to be a serious investigation and cleaning up of that particular entity to ensure that people have access to electricity. My community and several other communities where, experienced a power outage last evening, leading to people sleeping in the dark. So it's a lot of things going on. We're going to be right back after this break.
Wake up, my people. Can't you hear the song? Can't you see the shining sun? You've been sleeping so long. No time for guns, no time to do wrong. Say the war is gone. My people be strong.
Oh, let the life wake up, oh, wake up and do something. Oh, let the life try.
Wokama, wena moto mwaka, wokama. Mwaka, ufanu, unyamano, wokama, salune, labire, abore, guinea, wokama. Parliament, Bassama, Woman, Kisseman, Woka, Loma, Giaman, Cromman, Wokama, hey, Va, Wokama, hey, Bingo, Bola, Men, Wokama,
And that's right. You can be a Grebo, a Bazo, a Kisi, a Pele, a Gola, Mandingo, Bandi, wherever tribe you're from, Loma. We are all one people Bokena. Let's come together as one people and rebuild this great country, Liberia. Good morning and welcome to Straight from the Heart. Here we tell you the truth as the issues unfold, as how we broadcast them. We are very concerned about the upliftment of this society. We are very concerned about the growth of this great nation, Liberia. So individuals are not the people we are actually targeting. We don't target individuals. We don't target personalities. What we are doing, what we do, what we seek to do is to ensure that we provide you the information, feed you with the information, and we give you an opportunity to participate so that we all can participate in the analysis of the happenings here in the country. That way we can make a better difference as we all expect. So right now, the amount of things that we have on our plate this morning, you see a very big computer before me this morning. Those of you watching the live feed, like I said, power outage we experienced, made my two phones dead. So the good thing is we've arranged everything with our guest, Madam Keturah Smith of the Liberia Medicines Health Product Regulatory Authority joins us this morning to tell us about the LMHRA. I know some of you, are still concerned about where the Madagascar helps, went to, whether the LMHRA was able to get hold of it and review it or whether it was proper, because they are responsible to do that for us. Number of questions that we have on our minds as we were to ask the LMHRA, you too, what are you thinking about? Listen, this is the entity that's responsible for medicines, for all health products. So think about it, right? If you all pharmaceutical products, and the MD is a pharmacist, so she understands a lot about health products. So this entity heads medicines, health products, and then they regulate. They are the one responsible to regulate medicines and all health products in the country. So by that, I'm saying this repeatedly to give you an understanding that maybe you've looked around you, you've seen some things, that are not working properly. So you want the government to get involved. Now I'm bringing the entity to you now, to your doorstep, so that you can be able to ask the questions, the relevant questions that you have issues about. Madam Keturah Smith is a good communicator, and she's going to be providing you more information on the issue at hand. So let's begin with, where do we start from? Yesterday, we did not mention the demise of the police officer there around the Johnson Street area, which is very, very unfortunate. Zone 5 Depot Commander. He died as a result of that accident. And many people have been writing some things on social media that most of the time police officers do not give way to, vehicles to plow the streets, and they're always, somehow not properly stopping, to see what is happening, and then they just go on to prevent vehicles from moving. So sometimes they just stand behind it. So whatever the case is, whatever it is that whatever the case is that that people have against police officers, is important for us to recognize that someone has died. Whether he was careless about that, but he has died. And we just had to say that this morning. So President George Weah, there are two things here that we're quickly going to inform you about. You know that you've heard in the news that the president has appointed a new head of the board. And this is just 2 paragraphs here from the Executive Mansion website. And it says, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, has appointed Mr. Moni R. Captain as chairman of the board of directors of the Liberia Electricity Corporation. Mr. Captain was appointed early Wednesday, July 7, blah, 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 by the Liberian chief executive. So like the LWSC, that, is the trouble child, is a trouble child to the government of Liberia, that it does not provide effective services to the people, leading to the president taking action against the managing director there. He's now suspended. Many people are saying that his suspension is going to remain on, and why his deputy act in another person act in his place. Then from there, the president would just dismiss him while he's not going to suspension. and he's going to appoint another person. Whoever that's appointed in that area has a responsibility to execute to the people, like the RWC particularly. You talk about sewage line, you talk about, safe drinking water to the people. So now the president has appointed a board, a new head of the board, chairman of the board of directors of the Liberia Electricity Corporation. The LEC is also a trouble child to the government of Liberia, because most of the protest actions we've experienced in some communities as a result of power outage comes from the LEC. The LEC is responsible to provide, to do connection, to do metering, as well as provide affordable and uninterrupted electricity to the people. When that doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen, what happens is that the people get annoyed and they come out demanding what is duly theirs. So of the time you experience problem, the Jaratan community has blocked transformer. Sometimes you experience, just a damage on a transformer. It's going to take most times 2-3 weeks, sometimes months before that community can get back on, just because of a little problem, that a transformer is experiencing. So it's very important for us to see that the appointment here, well, of course, the president will appoint every time there's a problem. I just want to emphasize something quickly before I delve into this LEC thing deep, right? A couple of months back, in fact, even the second year of this administration, people were asking the president to take some actions. He should dismiss some people, remove some people, but people were specific. They were specific. They talk about McGill. They talk about McGill. They talk about Simon Tour and several others. Now the president has started taking some actions. How many persons so far have been dismissed? Somebody from the RTA got affected. Is it RTA? Yes, RTA got affected, right? An assistant minister from MICAT, a deputy minister from MICAT, some deputy minister from Commerce, but 2 persons now from Commerce, right? So the president has taken several actions against several individuals. Now you're hearing people again raising concerns. Oh, why did the president dismiss this person out of that? It speaks volume to what the kind of people we are. We want one thing, but we don't want action to be taken in order for us to get that thing. How do you expect the president to remove someone if he doesn't dismiss, that person, or even suspend the person? So the president is now on that particular path of getting rid of people. Back to the LEC. The LEC has a huge responsibility providing us electricity. That's the responsibility of the LEC. All right. But in this light, there are many other things that are going on internally in the LEC that's affecting the smooth operation of the LEC. There are Liberians operating there that have eyes to see, and most of the time they see that their country is being robbed of its, benefits, and citizens are being prevented from getting access to electricity. Yesterday, I talked about, someone selling meters and all of that. The information I gathered last evening, it took me several hours. That's the main reason why my phone went dead, and making sure to reaching out to several individuals, and even having to had to even reach out to people physically because some refused to even talk to me on the phone. All right, to give me information. Now, let's begin with Dukle, the man who died. Dukle died because he suspected something that was not, that was not proper to the LEC. What Dukle suspected, there is this particular meter that is far bigger than the small meters that we have in our various communities, right? Those ones as for communities. But there's another one that's called, was it centimeter and some kind of meter is mentioned, just slipped my mind, right? But that meter is responsible to supply, hotels, large business organizations like the Mamba Point Hotel, like you talk about big hotels in town and thing. That there's a big meter is somewhere around town here that's responsible, somewhere around the Mamba Point area, that's responsible to supply those big businesses. So the businesses, while they've been supplied, because if they're getting the supply sincerely, the government is going to generate a lot of money. So this Dukle guy who observed, or man, by the way, who observed that there was something happened with the meter, that particular meter. All right. Somebody tampered with the meter. So the meter was, so when the meter is tampered with, what happens is that this house, this business will be receiving electricity, but it's not going to register. It's not going to be indicated that this business entity is receiving electricity supply at this time. So by that, whoever that did that fingering of the meter, that did that tampering with that tamper with the meter that way, that person will now stand a chance of collecting that money from that business entity, and that business entity thinking also that it is paying money in government's revenue. Therefore, the government will be deprived of its rightful revenue collection. So this fellow noticed that the meter was tampered with. So he confronted his boss. He confronted a white fellow whom they suppose, again, how to, sometimes people get a bit afraid to let out everything, their cuts out. So head on to that. But contacted a white fellow, the white bosses. And when he went to speak with his boss, he was blasted at. That boss, I went somewhere, because he was assigned there to take care of it, to monitor it, right? But in the monitoring, another person is also assigned it. This particular fellow in question called Peter. So when you heard me talking about metering yesterday, that this guy is head of metering, he's not head of metering all over Liberia, right? There's a department there that's head of that's responsible for metering. But this Peter guy runs deal for his white bosses, this Nigerian fellow. He runs deal for his white bosses. So he goes there, he understands metering a lot. So he goes there, he reportedly goes there, let me put it that way, right? He reportedly goes there, and then he tampers with the meter so that about 2, 3, 4, 5 big businesses that should be giving till like 5, 6, 7, or 10,000 US dollars to government monthly will receive electricity, and then it's not going to register. Ducle, who was now in charge of that particular meter, whenever maybe he's asked out at the time, maybe his time is off, he leaves, that's the time that thing happens behind him. But he returned this day and noticed that this thing happened, confronted his bosses, and then he got blasted at. Then he was sent to the HR to receive his letter of dismissal immediately, simply because he noticed something criminal going on that is defrauding government of revenue. So he informed his boss, and his boss got annoyed with him, blasted him, whatever that was said to him. According to my sources, that he was insulted, and then he was sent to the HR. The HR said, "Well, I'm instructed to give you a letter of dismissal. So this letter is here. So I just thought to let you know." Ducle received the letter. He got broken. Ducle, another fellow as well. So he got out along with that fellow, like I said earlier. They just got that shock in their minds and they fell off. In that process, Ducle did not come through. He died. The other fellow came through. Now I'm also making efforts to reach out to this fellow, even Ducle's wife. The information is that Ducle recorded the conversation that he noticed. The white fellow noticed that Ducle was recording the conversation after he entered the office and told him about the problem he noticed at a job site, at a particular assigned area. So the reaction from his boss prompted him to start recording. Probably his boss noticed that he was being recorded. The information I gathered last night brought chill on my body, that this fellow in question engaged Ducle in a fight in that office. He said there was a serious tussle, with Ducle. Maybe that particular recording has been deleted from Ducle's phone, because when Ducle's wife collected his phones and all his personal belongings at his office, it was yesterday. It was yesterday that Ducle's wife went to the office. Was it just yesterday? It was Wednesday. It was on Tuesday that Ducle's wife went to the office to collect his personal belongings, including his phone. Maybe by now, even if I happen to get to that lady, we may not be able to get the recording and get exactly what Ducle said to this white fellow that prompted his reaction, leading to his death. But something must have been said. But the information I gathered from my sources are that, Ducle told his boss something is happening at this particular place. We need to work quickly and arrest the situation. That's the reason why there are many businesses, many individuals. I heard of a number of government officials in this country, in this town, that are owing LEC. They are $1,000. People who claim to have morals. If you enter, do you order food and not pay? No, you don't do that. You want to do that because Liberia is a country of our system. All right? The highest thing you should fight for, get education and get a position. That's Liberia. You have power. So there are several individuals also that are owing LEC a lot of money. They're yet to pay. Some of them $30,000, $20,000. Okay, but in this case, Ducle's wife has now collected the phone. I'm not too sure whether this phone still has that particular recording on it, because the fact that Ducle did not go home with his phone, according to the information I gathered, the information is still out there. It is still out there, and I can assure you that every time I get new updates, I'm going to provide you more information. But Ducle could not leave that compound with his phone that moment. He left even frustrated. He got his letter. He left the place. His wife collected his belongings on Tuesday. What happens? What do you think really happened in between? Was Ducle threatened that if he says anything to anybody about what he knows, that he will be killed, that XYZ thing will happen to him? Did he refuse to adhere to that particular warning? And then that led to his dismissal? Taking a man from his job, who knows his job, who feels that he's doing the right thing, that alone sent a shockwave on in his mind, something that led to his death. Let's move on to another point. Prior to Ducle's discovery of what happened over there, something that prompted this particular thing. Because when Ducle discovered that thing, I'm very sure he discussed with a few other people, some of whom are informing me now, right? And probably Ducle informed these guys that it is Peter, this Nigerian fellow. He's the one doing the fingering of the meter, the tampering with the meters. He tampers with the meters on behalf of our white bosses. And there's a separate account that has been opened now to ensure that the money goes in there. The government would not benefit from it. So imagine if you were to give about 5, 6, 7, large businesses who will be giving about 10, 15, 20,000 US dollars to government monthly. All right. And those monies that are being collected are not going to government's revenue. They're going directly into a secret account that's benefiting a few handful of people. So some of our Liberian brothers now who do not like this kind of idea, who decided to speak out, one has died in the process. Another angle of the story as well, that already there was tension already being mounted. There was a fellow who was the project manager there at the LEC. He was dismissed. He was not dismissed, but retired. Now he wants to come back. This fellow reportedly goes by the name Emmanuel Lawrence. Emmanuel Lawrence happens to be the brother of the late Adolph Lawrence. Now, this brother in question wants to come back to LEC. He has a lot of people. He has his confidants in there. He has his trusted people in there. So this brother is allegedly to fueling tension in there to ensure that something can get destabilized. Some information provided by our sources. If you look at it critically, you analyze and think, you also have to leave a room for yourself. Of course, that's what we do. We have to be very careful about what you give out there to the public. So I don't see much rationale in this particular information because this guy has been retired. Even if he succeeds in destabilizing the place and the entire management team is replaced, I don't think he's going to be, listed amongst the names of new people that are going to come forth. All right. So maybe he's doing that too. He's reportedly doing that too to ensure that someone he trusts can occupy a particular space. So a voice inside LEC, whether he's working there or not, but he's getting money through whatever means. So there's more going on in LEC. So now, you noticed that yesterday was phase 2 of the protest. Today's phase 3. We don't know what we may experience today. So they shut down the Busho Island power plant, Kakata power plant shut down as well. And at the hydro too, there's no much activities going on. If you notice, few communities did not have electricity. Maybe the ones that got electricity, whatever happens in between, I don't know about that. But this is a very serious situation. The chairman of the board of directors now, Mr. Money Captain, and there must be a serious forensic audit, financial forensic audit, right? Should be conducted in that place to ensure that people account for whatever monies they have eaten criminally from the government of Liberia through the LEC. Because people do not have access to electricity effectively, and people are getting rich at the detriment of government, at the detriment of the poor people, when they should have access to electricity. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So that is the situation there at LEC. That's what I've gathered so far. The story is a developing story. We're going to keep updating you gradually as we go on with the investigation. Quickly, another development quickly is the fact that the president of the Republic of Liberia, President George Weah, has withdrawn the appointment of Dr. Slewan, Marcus Slewan. Rees, the president of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, has withdrawn the nomination of Dr. Marcus Slewan. On June 14, 2021, Dr. Slewan was nominated by the Liberian leader as Director General of the National Commission on Higher Education. The Liberian Chief Executive will nominate a new head of the entity subsequently. What happened? What led to this particular decision from the president, by the president, to withdraw the appointment of Dr. Slewan? It's believed, it's speculated that Dr. Slewan has, some bad financial record that prompted the president to withdraw his appointment. It's not dismissal, it's just withdrawal, because he was nominated, but he was not appointed. So even this, there are several individuals like Dr. Charles Bolly, a young man who holds a doctorate degree, holds a PhD, and he's in the country. He's an educator. He's one of few persons. He was a few persons who not demanded, but immediately appreciated Dr. President George Weah for appointing Dr. Slewan at the National Commission on Higher Education. According to him, Dr. Slewan is the right person. He understands, education and all of that. Sometimes people can be qualified, but people's inability to control, their appetite for wants, for needs, and expectations sometimes lead them to getting in problem with government, to getting into some, serious public disrepute and all of that. So in the case of Dr. Slewan, until more investigation can be conducted in what led to this withdrawal, but it's an embarrassment. It brings, serious embarrassment to a man who has built his reputation, that the president appoints him and his appointment gets withdrawn. So the president was quick to withdraw the appointment of Dr. Slewan. It took him a long time to remove Councillor Ndubuisi Wambudike. It took him a long time to withdraw the appointment of the current labor minister, right? And Charles Gibson, right? Yeah, Councillor Charles Gibson. Councillor Charles Gibson was appointed at to head the National Elections Commission, and that appointment was withdrawn. And then later, the president considered sending him the LECC, right? And that also was withdrawn on grounds that this man has a bad legal record. He has done XYZ thing, but it took the president some time. It took him a long time to consider the decision to withdraw this particular, individual, Charles Gibson. He acted swiftly in the case of Dr. Slewan, reasons best known to himself. But the president is the president of the Republic of Liberia, and he understands exactly what he wants to do. He understands exactly when he takes decision, he knows that, yes, this decision is in the right direction and all of that. And if it doesn't work, then he gets back maybe and do whatever he can to ensure that people get to understand why he took certain decisions. But seriously, folks, what is going on right now in Liberia, even at institutions of work, where people are expected to do nothing but perform to beyond, in fact, the expectation of their bosses, do a lot of terrible things that even for the entity, then the good name that they are expected to bring to the entity. quickly, I just want to ask you a question. People have requested repeatedly that the Liberia Electricity Corporation be privatized. When you privatize the LEC and you bring in, people to run it privately and they pay, like just as the way people register their businesses, they pay taxes to government. What their duty would be to provide, electricity, unhindered electricity to the people, so that the noise about government being in charge of it, all of that will reduce. Will reduce the noise about government contracting people to run it. All of that will reduce. Even you brought someone to provide electricity for your people. This thing I'm talking about, a particular meter in town here, needs to be investigated. The government needs to go beyond. If you want to fight corruption, you don't have to maybe do on the surface. The government needs to go beyond and investigate this thing properly and find out who is doing what. The problem is sometimes we get on the air and we give ourselves headache to talk a lot about ills in society. But if you look closely, you see that even some of those in government, all right, some guys, some big hands in government benefit from these kind of stealings. So they will prevent everything. They'll do everything they can to prevent an investigation, being conducted in such entities and all of that. So right now, we'll leave it right there. We hope that the government and do a lot more. The president has appointed, a new chairman of the board, but that's not enough. That is not enough. We have to go beyond just appointing a new head of the board and ensure that we get proper leadership, do proper investigation, in making sure that Liberia gets nothing but affordable electricity, proper electricity, in a way that people will have access to it, in a way that every time they wake up, they'll have nothing but access to affordable electricity. So yesterday, MTO put forth a notice. So I just want to read that. COVID-19 is real. We cannot forget about that, no matter how, the political issues and economic issues can affect us. As long as the world continues to maintain that COVID-19 still exists, we have to continue informing our people through our various mediums. So MTO posted this information on the 6th of July, and it says, we take note of several complaints of extortion and fraud in our COVID-19 testing and results processes by persons trusted to carry out delicate activities. We take these complaints extremely serious and have commenced an internal review. We believe that these complaints, if true, emanate from sample collectors who create new codes and submit different test samples for individuals who have tested positive for COVID-19. As a result, there will be changes to our system aimed at clamping down on fraud. Any staff caught in this process will be immediately dismissed and turned over to the appropriate authority to face prosecution. Individuals caught paying for changed test results are also going to be prosecuted. We urge everyone to remain calm and cooperate as we tackle this outbreak. Remember that being affected with COVID-19 is not a death sentence. When it is identified and treated early by professionals, we urge the public to continue to follow the safety procedures. Avoid large gatherings. Wear your mask in public spaces at all times. Practice social distancing. Frequently wash your hands with soap and clean water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Get vaccinated. Get tested if you have symptoms of COVID-19 or have had close contact with someone who is tested positive for COVID-19. These basic rules, we understand them. I'm very sure people are going through them every morning, every day. But the issue of extortion is good that MTO service is highlighting. And several individuals have spoken on that, even on this platform. People have called on here and have said that they're paying XYZ. I still do not understand the rationale behind even the vaccine. Those who are traveling, you must pay a certain amount to take your vaccine. But when you're in the country, you should do it free of charge. I still do not get the rationale behind it. Where that money goes, I remember The Senate invited the health minister to come to talk about the issue of the Malagasy herbs. And she was also asked about the collection done. Where does the money go? Goes to the health ministry? Why should that be the case? The economic situation that the COVID-19 came with or has increased in the world is so alarming that poor people get affected. If someone gets an opportunity to leave the country, even to travel, why should they be made to pay $75 just to take COVID-19 vaccine or maybe do tests and other things? So that even is extortion organized by government itself against its own citizen. You understand the economic situation, you understand the difficulties, but yet you agree that you should take money from people. Now your staff are now also, doing extortion. They're now extorting from people. Sometimes, and this is terrible, right? Someone gets tested and they are positive of COVID-19 because the government introduces programs and activities and procedures that are interpreted and even seen that appear to be a seeming act of corruption. So if the people who are government themselves sees that the government is proceeding in a way that the way the government is proceeding, I think this is an act of corruption. So why how about us that are working within the government entity, this particular area, like MPhil, for example? All right, the people in the incident management system. So if I get tested and I'm positive, but I want to leave, I want to get home and treat myself, I don't want to go at any treatment center. What MPhil is saying that this complaints the complaints that have come forth to it is going to take the complaints seriously. So pay, just bribe, and then your positive test will be transferred to another person. Imagine that. So someone is tested a positive. So I am positive. God forbid. Yeah. If I get tested, for example, I'm positive and I bribe the guys who did the test, they will take my test and transfer it to another person who they are not approach of, they are negative, but they have not been given their result. So swapping of tests and making other people to be positive while other people are negative, but those that are negative are positive simply because people are receiving bribes, extortion. People are extorting money from people for a lot of things. So you see the danger we sit on. Every time you wake up, the many issues in the country, even the issues. I listened to a big brother who said, look, young man, I admire you young journalists, right, in the country, but I don't listen to the news that much. I don't listen to the many stories. I read my international stories and I'm done with it. Seriously, because the news in the country alone can give you, create an unstable mind in the morning, even before you go to work. Imagine someone receiving bribe to transfer a COVID-19 test, someone who has tested positive, and that test is transferred to another, is swap. Another person who's negative is the one that is going to be declared positive simply because that person does not want to go through the process of treatment. This too is Liberia. Let's have a conversation. Call us in the numbers 0777 777 107, 221 223. Are the numbers you can call us in to participate on the program this morning. But let's look at the number of cases right now as we are. Okay, we have calls on the line already. Let's go on. Let's hear from this first person. Good morning.
Ataya, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you, Mr. Tamba.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're trying to recognize voices now.
Yeah, no, I do that a lot. Sure.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Ataya, I might appreciate you this morning. You're doing well, extremely well. You make it scarred to go to another level.
Thank you.
And, a lot of people go to the radio in the morning listening to you.
Thank you, sir.
I think T-Match Latte have perfect, replacer in the studio there.
Thank you.
And quickly to your talking point this morning. Ataya, the question that I continue to ask this government, what happened to the money that they collect to the international airport? The testing, there's some the fact that have been paid by foreigners and Liberians. All the money are gone. The last time we checked, we're talking about somewhere around $8 million. What the ministry have doing with that money? Today we are crying. We don't have money to purchase the vaccine and what have you. What happened to that money that they collected in the airport? My brother Natalia, look, I don't know what happened to Liberia. Yesterday, I listened to one lady on one talk show. You say my brother right now got a real problem. God tried to diagnose that real problem. I don't know what happened to us. On a serious note, what happened to this country? People fight for leadership. They noise. You take the power and give them. Where are we? Wrong in this country with God? I think we need to come back to our senses. This is very serious, more especially when it comes to the pandemic. People are not being fair. People just feel that they create another avenue for them to get rich. And we saw that during the Ebola time. Okay? The same people that was sitting on the fence yesterday criticizing in the same jungle today enjoying the same, how they call it, the honey and all of you.
And then some of you guys now who are now criticizing some of these things, tomorrow morning, let me say tomorrow morning, you come into, you may just change your tongue and not be able to speak on some of these things because the nation, Liberia, the way we are proceeding, we are proceeding on a deceptive note. If you're not deceptive here, you can easily get recognized, you can easily get, fear among and all of that. So both organizations, that's why yesterday in the afternoon, Mr. Tamba asked a question. Which group of politicians do you trust now? That was a very critical question. I think many people found it difficult to sift through. The opposition or the ruling position. Because all of the characteristics of people you find in the ruling position, you find the same group of people in the opposition. So what do we need? Do we need a Catholic priest to come and run the nation?
No, Matthias. You know why? Trust me. As you are here, Sky Radio, look, if the opposition take over tomorrow, trust me, if they go wrong, I will criticize them. I'm on record for that. No, Natalia, back home in Foya, I was able to secure a slot on Tematico Radio to discuss national issue every Wednesday. You know what happening? People went to my village, warning my sister, then talking to them that I should cease fire. This thing here, I should let them, talk to the people so that they can go and take over leadership in Foya. People in the government currently. I received one other call last night.
Okay.
So, I don't know. And I'm not going to cease fire. I'm going to continue firing until things change.
Okay, brother.
You can't do that to our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tamba. Let's move on to another person. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. My name is Matthias Labindi. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel M. Super Jr. I call you for an intellectual class about the whole community.
Please go ahead, sir.
Let me appreciate you this morning, Matthias, for the platform and the talking point. Matthias, what you have said this morning is a grave allegation, especially when you say, health workers are accepting people results. Such an information or allegation worth, investigation. And I just hope they should catch the concern of the requisite authority because it's derogatory. If you will be tested negative, and then someone take a result and swap it to someone who is positive in the name of bribery, it is wrong. So let me use this media to call His Excellency President Dr. George Manawia to investigate a speeded, investigation to that process because it is not a joke, even though it's been said on a radio station. But I don't think it should be overlooked in this time of the current resurgence of the COVID-19. And so the issue that has to do with, people paying money, Liberians who have gone out of sick faster paying money to receive the COVID-19. But I have a distinct opinion to that. I think that's the means of the government raising revenue. So people who have traveled shouldn't have problem paying a less amount of $5, to the system. Thank you very much for your 40 minutes time. Just hope it will be accounted for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your contribution as well. You can also, if you're watching us there on Facebook, Sky Communications Liberia Facebook page, or YouTube, Sky FM and TV Liberia, you can drop your comments, share, invite someone kindly to join the conversation as well. I think I would be here in contempt if I let the next seconds to pass without wishing Julius Boki of our staff a happy birthday. Today is his birthday. And you know, Julius has lots of followers. You wouldn't believe what we're going to be doing here. Trust me, you're not going to be invited. You're not invited. We are only asking you to come with your gifts and stop at the gate and drop. So whatever happens internally is none of your business.
Good morning.
Fine, thank you. Let's hear you.
Just over.
Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, I really listened to your point. They are brilliant. But when you were reading this morning, I decided to ask myself some other questions, such as what become of the investigation or the intervention of the NSA? Because this is a state matter, where you have people are endangering the state. The report that was read this morning that stated we take note that their codes have been changed in the results of the COVID. And if true, we are willing to investigate and take actions.
And you know, my brother, sorry, just to get in quickly, this thing I read is on a page of the National Public Health Institute. It's not something that's doctored up or brought out here by me, because this thing, the work we do is just like a doctor who is a surgeon. If you're not careful, you kill the patient. So if you get behind a mic, if you're not careful about what you provide out there, you create serious havoc in the society. So I'm reading directly. It's July 6th, edition of the post, by the way, made by National Public Health Institute. The lead says we take note of several complaints of extortion and fraud, in the COVID-19 test. And these complaints, the MPO said it takes it seriously. But I reason with you, I think the National Security Agency should get involved in investigating these matters.
Yeah. And one of the things I want to bring to their attention, those guys that are at the airport, those immigration officers, they need to investigate immigration properly. There are people in there that are doing things. They are doing a lot of things. The head of immigration need to be investigated. How did those people, those 103 persons enter the country, where you have people that came down with COVID and they didn't arrest them? How did the people even manage to get the traveling visa or what? They got certain paper there that they need to use to enter this country. The president have taken a lady out of that position. And
she's just suspended now. She's not dismissed yet. She's just suspended, by the way.
Yeah, but that thing is organized. Those guys are there.
I couldn't agree more.
You can't take one person for a crime.
No.
I believe that other than that, there's a clique, and that clique should be getting rid of. This is affecting our country. If we couldn't have accepted people that had COVID to enter our country, we're not going to face the problem. Now we are at the red zone.
Okay. Thank you so much, my brother. Let's hear from another person. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. This is a platform. Once you are able to refine your language, you can speak directly from your heart and speak boldly. That's why we call it Straight from the Heart. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, Mr. Lomé.
This is DJ Lomé. Thank you for your recognition.
Go ahead.
Matthias, my attention has been drawn to this COVID fight. And I continue to say, I want Liberians to take me as a witness when I see this thing. It's a time for war, prepare for peace. Let us build our things around the GSK, around redemption, the Island Clinic, former Island Clinic before Umba Oriyama, build the things. Because we saw what happened is when you go to GSK, they will tell you, say, no bad. You go to redemption, they will tell you, say, no bad. And then we are, the people are saying that they think every day there's a cases improving. So we don't want people to be lying down all on the street before the government can start building things. are begging them, plan for war, prepare for peace. Your JFK got enough big yard. Your build those things. Go to Lufa, Wanyama, Kulango, whatsoever the other places, build the things, put hospital bed in those places. Can also just think that just in case, God forbid, when it's escalated, there will be no refusing patient to go home and die there. That you get enough space to hold the people. Please, I'm appealing to the Ministry of Health and the President of the Republic of Liberia because we know this country. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lome. This is a patriotic call. I respect that. Good morning. All right, that person left the line. You can do the same. Call us in the numbers 0777 107 0777 221 223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. A couple of minutes, we're going to be joining the Voice of America for 5 minutes of news. We're hoping to have in the studio at 8 o'clock the managing director of the national, that's not the national, but the Liberia Health Products Regulatory Authority, NFIL, not NFIL, Liberia Health Products. Liberia Medicine Health Products Regulatory Authority, LMHRA. Madam Katoria Smith joins us this morning from 8 to 9 o'clock to talk about some of the activities of the entity. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Good. Listening to you, and we are trying to follow some hard protocol here. But the government itself, shall be very serious in the struggle against COVID-19. Only the true information will help us. We cannot build on lies. You see, it comes for transparent results. The breadwinner of somebody's family is to turn down all allegations having COVID-19 that present is actually negative reality. I think it's a way home. I don't think it's far in that direction. It will not be successful in fighting the crime. The COVID disease in a manner. Because the person who result is transferred, that person going in the community will keep spreading. And the person who is hold down on allegations that they have COVID will be sitting there while they are negative in reality, declaring them positive. It's not fine. Good information when it comes to the COVID. When they say Senator Snow was having COVID-19, woman already say, hey, that thing, don't believe it. The comment forcing people to deny. It doesn't make their COVID-19. And other people in the county campaigning when you're being, here in Monrovia, immediately after the result, all the information lost on the media, no more the election result was in the cube of COVID treatment. Why would people to believe this thing if you start lying to the public? So, in my mind, I don't think we can afford the disease in that manner. Yeah. Hello?
Contribution. And let's hear from this last person. Good morning. All right. Thanks for your contribution on the program this morning. I tell you, a lot of people raising concerns, and this is all of your points are very important points you're making. We just hope that we all can work collectively in ensuring that we help government in our weak ways, in every way that we can help the government to ensure that we fight against this virus. But again, the unscrupulous acts again exhibited by some of the workers, some of those who work within at the National Public Health Institute, complains that the good thing is that it is NFIL that wrote the particular statement on its own page, on its own Facebook page. So it's not just mere complaints people are making out there in the public, but these complaints have been directed directly to NFIL. So NFIL is now aware that there are people within NFIL who are in the testing room, who are responsible for testing. They are involved into fraud. Fraud, for example, academic fraud is an act of you obtaining document or maybe getting promoted without you working for it. So fraud could be defined. In this case of the health situation, people are getting tested. Someone gets tested and the positive, the other person says, no, I don't want that thing. I got to go home. Can you find a way and maneuver for me and say I'm negative and then give the positive result to another person? And other people go there, listen, this test, you have to pay XYZ thing for it because we're not getting XYZ. Somebody want to get tested, they pay that. All of these things are happening. These are all triggers, negative triggers that will prevent us from winning this fight and championing and being champions over this deadly coronavirus. You're listening to Straight from the Heart and Sky, 107.1. We'll take 5 minutes of news from the Voice of America. After that, we'll join the Managing Director of the Liberia Medicine Health Products Regulatory Authority, Madam Keturah Smith, to tell us more about the workings of the entity. My name is Matthias Labindi.
Until next time, I'm Steve Miller in Washington. Be well, be safe, and have a great day.
This is VOA News reporting by remote. I'm Michael Brown. The Japanese government is expected to announce Thursday that it will impose a new state of emergency for Tokyo due to the rise of new COVID-19 cases across the country. The government's economy minister and head of its coronavirus response efforts told reporters the state of emergency will begin on July 12th and last until August 22nd, a period that covers the duration of the Tokyo Olympics, which takes place between the 23rd of July to August the 8th. A new state of emergency will likely prompt the government to either scale back the number of spectators allowed to witness Olympics to 5,000 or ban them altogether. Foreign spectators have already been banned from attending the event. The head of Haiti's National Police Force said 4 people suspected of carrying out Wednesday's assassination of President Jovenel Moïse were killed in a shootout with police. Chief Leon Charles told reporters in Port-au-Prince that 2 other suspects, whom he described as mercenaries, were arrested during the shootout. 3 police officers who were held hostage by the suspected assassins were freed. Charles did not provide any other information on the operation. The manhunt was launched shortly after Moïse was gunned down during a pre-dawn raid on his home in a wealthy suburb of Port-au-Prince. Barkey Edmond, Haiti's ambassador to the United States, told reporters in Washington that Haiti's border with the Dominican Republic and its airports are closed. The ambassador said First Lady Martine Moïse, who was also shot during the attack, is in stable condition at a Miami, Florida hospital. The president's children, who was home during the attack, has been taken to a secure location. For more news, join us at voanews.com. By remote, this is VOA News. South Korea's capital is on the verge of perhaps its most intense lockdown yet after the country reported its largest daily surge of coronavirus cases. Officials on Thursday recorded 1,275 new infections, the vast majority of which are in the Seoul area, where more than half of South Koreans live. That is South Korea's largest number of confirmed daily cases since the pandemic began. One official is reported as saying Seoul may soon impose the toughest restrictions under a 4-tier social distancing system, which can include severe measures such as a ban on private gatherings of more than 2 people after 6 p.m. South Korea won international praise for its initial containment of the virus, thanks to its efficient and widely available COVID-19 tests and intense contact tracing. However, the country has lagged most other developed countries in acquiring vaccines, meaning it has been stuck in a state of not being fully opened or closed. Former South African President Jacob Zuma turned himself over to police early Thursday to begin serving a 15-month prison term. Zuma decided to surrender to authorities to obey the order court, the Constitutional Court, that he should serve contempt of court. 2 weeks after the condominium, officials announcing Wednesday that they were shifting from rescue to recovery as there was no chance of life. The Miami-Dade assistant fire chief telling families who had remained unaccounted for of their loved ones that the rescue dogs and listening devices would be removed, but that workers would continue to search for human remains. No survivors have been found since the earliest hours after half of the building collapsed back on June 24th. Currently, the death toll standing at 54, with 8 additional bodies found on Wednesday, according to the mayor of Miami-Dade, and 86 people are still unaccounted for. Afghan authorities said Wednesday pro-government forces had pushed back Taliban insurgents from parts of the northwestern city and regained control of official buildings after hours of fierce fighting. And the National Hockey League's Tampa Bay Lightning back-to-back win at the Stanley Cup Championship, sparking huge celebrations. Wednesday night, the Lightning defeated the Montreal Canadiens 1-0 to close out the Stanley Cup Finals in 5 games. I'm Michael Brown reporting by remote, VOA News.
It's 8:05. It's 8:05.
Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. And pray.
Oh, let the life we wake up, oh, wake up and do something. Oh, let the life we try to something the way we need to be. Maybe it's all we need in our love and control. Mama, I love you.
Wake up, my people. Can't you hear the song? Can't you see the shining sun? You've been sleeping so long. No time for guns. No time to do wrong. Say the war is gone. My people be strong.
Oh, let the life we wake up, oh, wake up.
That's right, Liberians. Wake up and do something. Wake up, let's help them build this country, Liberia. Let us do so with so much honesty and sincerity in everything we do, wherever you find yourself. If you're a doctor, if you're a journalist, you're a lawyer, you are a classroom teacher, you are a minister of government, anywhere, you are a director or managing director, take honesty to your job. That way, Liberia is going to be better. Do not travel out of the country and say, yeah, I went to the Bahamas. That place is very developed. And you say, I'm going back to my village in Liberia. You can make it like the Rwanda. You can make it like South Africa. And we bring honesty to the job. Good morning. And welcome to Straight from the Heart and Sky, 107.1. Today is the 8th day of July 2021. My name is Matthias, and I'm privileged now to have with me the managing director of the Liberia Medicine Health Products Regulatory Authority, pharmacist Katuria C. Smith. She's the MD. She's here. Good morning, madam. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure, and it's been a long time. I want to begin with this developmental news. Thanks for including us on a list of number of journalists that visited your lab, the lab that you are constructing, and the current one and thing. It's been days now, weeks or months since we did the tour. How far is the project?
Okay, so we've been having several discussions with WHO, the World Health Organization, because they are the one to accredit the lab eventually. So we just thought it wise that we should be in line with whatever processes they have. So we've had several meetings with WHO, the engineers and the technical people at the lab. And I'm glad to say that finally we came to one conclusion on what are some of the procedures, what a standardized lab should look like. And we are trying to conclude with the drawing, the guidelines, and everything that concerns the lab. And hopefully by this month, we're going to have the final blueprint, the final procedures of that work, and it's going to be presented to the contractors to resume work.
Okay, so when that is completed, what should we expect to see here? That let me just leave it right there. What should we expect to see as far as health products and regulation is concerned?
Sure. So we should expect to see that like 80 to 90% of medicines that come into the country, medical devices and cosmetics being tested, going through the quality and assurance processes. We should expect to see some level of assurance on medicines that we take, because right now we cannot say most of the medicines that we are taking have gone through quality control testing.
You cannot say.
We can't say if it has, because there have been some challenges that we face personally with the lab. So most process of having a standardized lab that is being approved or accredited by WHO. We can like 100% say that we are kind of sure of the medicine that we take. So what we do right now, we do our own visual analysis testing. We do our own primary or preliminary testing. And once we are not sure at the lab, it is taken to a third-party lab to confirm whether it's suitable for human consumption or not. So we go around doing pharmacovigilance on the medicines that we take. We go around carry on surveillance on the medicines that we take. And once we find out that there is some concern concerning the medicines, like probably there are more growing on the medicines or there are syrup that's still hishing in the bottles. Once we raise some eyebrow concerning certain medicines, we take it to a third-party lab in Ghana that has been WHO accredited. And we've been getting a lot of results from Ghana FDA's lab, and we've been taking regulatory action against those medicines that we've been seeing in the market.
So at the moment, it sounds scary to me, because to say that our medicines are not being tested 100%, hopefully by the completion of the lab, we're going to ensure that our medicines are properly tested. So you cannot, all the processes you go through, you send the drugs, certain drugs to Ghana, certain samples to Ghana for testing, all of that. So can you say for a fact that the Liberian population is safe in terms of the drugs they take in?
Yes, the population is safe. That's why I said once there are suspicion on some medicines.
How would you know? Do you see every drugs are coming to the country?
Exactly, we do.
How is that
possible? Do. So we have a process that before you bring in medicine to the country, you go and register the medicine at the authority. Once the medicine is registered, you are supposed to bring all information as it relates to that medicine, where the quality will be seen in those documents that you bring. That's what we call dossier evaluation of the medicine before you bring in the container of the medicines. So after that evaluation, if you are allowed to bring in the medicines, when the container arrives, you still have to pass it through the quality control lab for all medicine, except it is smuggled. But once it's registered with us, you go through the registration department, go through the evaluation processes, and then after the medicine comes in the country, you still have to pass it through the quality control lab. So I won't say that the quality control lab we have here is equipped 100%, but they do their preliminary findings. And if there is some issue that they have with the medicines that you bring in, right there, the medicines are quarantined. First of all, you are not allowed to sell those medicines until you go through the quality procedures. The medicines are quarantined in your warehouse. And then once the quality control lab is not satisfied with certain maybe visual inspection that they must have done, you are asked if you don't agree with the results that or the findings that they bring out, the you telling probably your medicines are not fit for human consumption and you want to challenge the results, you are allowed to go take it to a third-party lab.
And an importer has the right to contest your result.
Yes. Like I told you.
And with that, so when they take it to a third-party lab, whatever result that comes from there, you're going to accept it too?
Definitely, because those third-party lab are WHO approved.
They're far advanced than yours.
Yes, they are WHO accredited. It's not just any lab. For Africa, we have 2 labs that are WHO accredited. We have Ghana FDA and we have the Tanzania FDA. So we have an MOU signed with Ghana FDA. So it's expected that Ghana FDA being accredited by WHO, they go through all the procedures that they are supposed to go through. So once they bring out a result to us, if that product failed, then we have to take regulatory actions.
So the MOU you signed, during the time this client is contesting your result here in Liberia, do you send representatives to monitor the testing there, even though you trust the lab there?
No, we don't send representatives because it's like international standards, international best practice. You trust what your partners do. You don't have to. If you want to send representative, fine, but for the fact that that lab has been approved by WHO, they meet all international standards. So definitely we trust the results that will be given out from those accredited labs. So we don't have to go and send our staff there to go and confirm what they are doing, if it's right or if it's wrong.
So during the completion of this lab that is currently under construction, what I want to know is that, are you going to have WHO coming in to observe your environment and accredit you that yes, you can now be you can now carry out tests that you used to send to Ghana?
Definitely. That's why we thought it wise to have them involved with the foundation process.
So they even watch the preparation of the land. I mean, not the land, but the building structure, how it should be built.
That's it. That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Why did they get involved in all of that?
Why? But you just asked. They are the one going to accredit the lab.
Okay.
And they have their guidelines. They have the SOPs. They have standing procedures on how
you build it.
The building should be.
Okay.
The foundation of the building should be. The compartments should be. What glassware should you put in the building? Should you use aluminum fitting and everything that is supposed to be there?
Okay.
So you don't want to build a building and then they come and condemn the building. Then you just go back to square one. So it's better and it's more wise to have them, involved in the process. So if there is any mistake along the way, they will have to correct you. You don't want to build a structure and then it's condemned, and that's a waste of money.
That's a wise one.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to another thing. It's very important, right? Recently, you launched a campaign out here. People selling drugs in buckets and moving around. Many people in many communities are still buying drugs like that. How many inspectors do you have out there to prevent that woman who just jumped out of her house? Oh, I get a headache, and then she's shivering. She see this guy, give me paracetamol. She's concluded that paracetamol is the solution for her headache without knowing the history of the headache. How many inspectors do you have there? How proactive are they in ensuring that these young men who sell drugs in the buckets are raided off the streets of Monrovia and the country at large?
So maybe I'll just kind of divert from your question a little bit. It should be, I think for me, the approach I consider should be creating awareness on the process of buying medicines, against the process of buying medicines, on the street. So first of all, you have to discourage clients or customers or people of Liberia from not buying medicines, just anywhere. So once you have that message across to them, you won't, because you it's not possible for you to have inspectors every corner at every point of time. So you already try to discourage that whole idea of just going anywhere and buying medicines by just playing the jingles on radio and then having billboards, having talk shows about it, going to communities and doing this awareness. So coming back to your question, now we have close to 50 surveillance officers that don't really identify themselves, going out to the peddlers, discouraging them about buying medicines just from anywhere, or especially from bucket sellers and those that have them on the tables. That's what we can do for now. As much as we think we are still getting to the point that the message will be spread across Liberia, not only in Mosurado, where you would discourage people from, like I hear so many times during market days in other counties, they just spread the medicine and waste it on the ground, and people go and buy. So we are gradually trying to decentralize our system from just not only centralizing it in Mosurado to getting out there to the counties to see how we can discourage people from just getting medicines anywhere. Take, for instance, the weather condition that we are faced with right now. You have so many homes that are flooded. So sometimes you even get these medicines that become very wet and moisty, and then people will somehow, because they don't want their product to spoil, as the business people will see it, they don't want to lose. They will somehow find a method to dry it and then go and resell. So definitely in that case, that you won't really get the therapeutic effects you as a patient desire. And sometimes some of these will even become poisonous to you. And since that we are in a system that we don't totally investigate some of these sicknesses, some of these diseases or death that is going around, it may be attributed to something else. You may say, oh, we simple things that we are exposed to that may cause eventually die.
Kateria, when you took over the LMHRA, I had a conversation with you. Some of the things you've done, at that time, there were still many challenges you had on your plate. Let me just bring you to a question that maybe I should have asked earlier. Where is the LMHRA now? Given all these, progress report you're giving me, we're going to move on to another step. But where is it now?
For me, LMHRA is gradually progressing. I mean, the internal raft that I came and saw, I'm not experiencing it. Everyone's seeing that we have to do this for Liberia. no matter who you are, no matter your political background, no matter your professional background, because those were some of the fights that were there. No matter your professional background, no matter who you are here to work and work for the betterment of Liberia. So it's all about the work. It's not about what politics is about.
Getting the support from partners as well.
Definitely, we are getting the support from partners.
Tell us some of your partners.
Global Fund, we have Global Fund working with us. We have USAID, USP working with us. We have the World Bank working with us, and then WHO as well working with us. And we also have the government that have our back totally. The government has been like our strong support system for the fact that they somehow help us to pay our staff. And where we are right now, they pay the rent for that building.
Where's your office now?
We are at Mamba Point, which is quite bigger than where we were. Okay. So that's the government support, and they are still willing to, to render that support to us. As a matter of fact, the government even contributed to the foundation of the lab that you spoke about earlier. So the government have been there for us and heavily supporting the health system.
Okay. Now, you're listening to Straight from the Heart and Sky 107.1, and we are privileged this morning. We have with us in the studio the managing director of the Liberia Medicines Health Products Regulatory Authority. So the two key words there, medicines, health products. So if you follow now further, you see that this entity is responsible to regulate medicines and health products in the country. Let's go on to the next talking point quickly. I want to bring to Madam Kateria's attention. You did a press release. All right. In your release, LMHRA monitors COVID-19 vaccines, urges public to report adverse reaction. What is your concern with adverse reaction? What have you heard? Why did you take this lead that people should report to you? What solution do you have to provide to them? Compound the question. Take it on.
So it's part of what the LMHR is about. We are about safety of all medicines, and we are about the efficacy of all medicines. And when the AstraZeneca vaccine came about, most people were concerned about the safety. So as a regulatory body, we have to monitor the safety also of the vaccines that people are taking, to give people assurance that, okay, yes, this vaccine that you are taking is safe. So we sent out a team. We have the pharmacovigilance department. We sent out a team from the first dose of the vaccine and then to follow up to the second dose of the vaccine. So these teams, they are divided into where the stages or where the center points where these vaccines are given. So they are stationed there. They interact with people that come for the vaccines, and then take their phone number to do a follow-up call after you must have taken the vaccines. What do you experience? And so far, most of what we've been hearing, it has just been mild side effects. Such as probably headache, fever, pain at the injection sites, and just regular things that happen when you take a vaccine. So it has not been severe to raise eyebrow. I'm not saying categorically clear that there haven't been any maybe severe adverse drug reaction, but we, from my team, we have not encountered any severe adverse drug reaction from the vaccine so far.
Does it mean you don't have a database of all those who have taken the vaccine?
We don't have a total database. I won't lie to say we have.
So when did you embark on making sure that people who may encounter adverse reaction as a result of taking the vaccine can report to you, and then they receive some counseling? When did you embark on it?
From the start. But the reason
that was
why
back in 2020. Did you start this in 2020?
No, I mean from this when Liberia got the vaccine.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, when Liberia got the vaccine, it was in 2020. So when I say we don't have total database on it, because the vaccine have been given to people in counties, and we are unable, because of limited manpower, we are unable to reach out to people in counties. So I won't say we have all the database on adverse drug reaction of the vaccine.
But they still have a means of reporting to you. How do they do it? Even though they are in the counties, you can reach out to them. Do you have a means? Have you given them a medium to which they can reach out to you?
Yes, we have our hotline and numbers that we have aired several times, and also we try to work along with the Ministry of Health, because the Ministry of Health have their own surveillance team. So it's like a teamwork, which we also try to work along with them to see how we can look at some of these reactions together.
So I'm told that from what I'm looking at in your release here, you visited several, centers, several areas. Your team have visited several areas that people are receiving the vaccines. And so So when they go, what do they ask for? Contact number of the person who has received the vaccine, the person's name and location. What are some? I don't want to answer the question in my question. The question in the question already, right?
Yes.
So what do you ask for?
Yeah, so you are right. They ask for the patient's or the person's name, their contact number, and address. So we also if the patient will tell the patient the person to call, and then if the person is on call, we also do a follow-up call. But sometimes they call, oh, I'm experiencing this fever. What should I do? And you should know that we are also health worker as well. So we have some knowledge on. We have knowledge, not even some on what you should take when you are feeling feverish or the rest of them. So most time it has just been, oh, I'm feeling feverish or I'm feeling weak. Sometimes the body gradually adjusts to new substances are getting to them. So most times it's just for you to rest, probably take water, or you take Tylenol or paracetamol, and those pains will just go away.
So when someone calls you, for example, I know you received somebody calls this morning. Someone calls you now and say, Matthias, for example, I call, I just took the vaccine, but since yesterday, I'm just feeling this. Do you have hands-on solution to provide for that person?
It depends on how you are feeling. You can't just, science is very, like, you have to be discreet. You can't just say, oh, I'm feeling this. If it's just like, if you have been kind of close to a child or baby, whenever a baby go to take a vaccine, you will see that there'll be some discomfort for that child. I don't know if you have a child. There'll be some discomfort for that child. So as adults too, you experience the same. Maybe you just try to be strong. But most times what we have heard or what has been reported has just been headache, fever, and pain. So if you go like 1-2 hours or 3 and it becomes severe, you are allowed to take painkillers like paracetamol, Tylenol, and the rest
that is based on your advice.
Yes, that is based on what you tell me that you are experiencing. So if it's kind of severe, then you have to report yourself to the health facility so that further checkup can be done on you.
Nearby health facility or the same place you took the vaccine, because you taking the vaccine from somewhere, someone gives you something and you're taking the problem to another person. I'm kind of confused about that.
No, you just report to a nearby health facility. It's the same vaccine that everyone knows that this is AstraZeneca vaccine. So you don't have, if you went and took the vaccine at ERWA and you are living in town, you just go to the nearby health facility and report, okay, since I took this vaccine, I've been feeling headache and it's not going, I've taken this medicine and it's still persistent. So probably they can do more investigation or run your test to see what's, maybe there may be some underlying costs. So you can't just, conclude and just take any medicines. We are discouraging people from just going to the pharmacy without going to the hospital to do proper checkup and just buy medicines or the counter. So you have to go to the hospital and do a proper checkup. Then you can be, advised on what to do next.
Since you launched this particular initiative, how hot is your line in terms of calls you receive daily? Because there are a lot of myth or information out there that this vaccine, those that are taking it, will can you please put the marks back on? Yeah, thank you. Those that are taking it will die after 2 years. These concerns are coming from the public and to people are raising this concern. How hot is your line? Because this is, for me, it's like a one-stop shop where someone can go and put forth all their problems.
So sorry, sometimes when I take my marks off while I'm talking, I become breathless.
Okay,
that's why
no
I
problem.
have to.
That's better. You can
at least you are protected.
Yeah,
so
I am.
You have your marks on, but when I'm talking, I become breathless. But I will try to keep it on. So sorry, I forgot.
Now just asking, how hot is your line?
Okay.
I don't know how many lines you have out there for people to reach out to. Maybe this may be an opportunity for someone to get the numbers and be calling you. How hot?
Not me. We have people in charge of the phone. The
pharmacovigilance. Yes, LMHRA.
Yes, LMHRA. So we have the heads in charge of the phone. And to my surprise, they have been reporting from the first stage that the vaccine started, the whole process started. People have been calling, being curious to find out how they feel, even asking, is this vaccine okay? What do you think were our experience? I was very surprised. Even at the very first stage of the vaccine, before people could take their second dose, people have been really, curious to know, and following up on how they feel, what will they experience after taking this vaccine, and how they are feeling after they must have taken the vaccine. People are calling. Yeah.
So the numbers are really hot. And
yes.
So you must have a busy team there, always interacting with them. But let's move on to something, right? You're responsible for health products, and you regulate them, medicines as well. Back in 2020, the government of Liberia received the Madagascar herbs. I've been trying to reach out and things. You've been very busy. Now, the Madagascar herbs, I'm very sure, to the best of my knowledge, the first entity that should receive that herbs should be the LMHRA to tell us whether it's good for us to take it or not. Did you see that? Did you test it in your lab? Is it good? Has it been, given to people?
So yes, we received the Madagascar.
Received
yes, we received the Madagascar herbs, and we were called on the Ministry of Health to do an assessment on the safety of the medicine, to advise them on what next they should do with the medicines, with the herbs. So the pharmacovigilance team, myself, and technical people from the quality control lab, we made a presentation that the Minister of Health, she was present at that meeting, and then also the National Ethics Board of Liberia, they were present as well. So we did a presentation, and we finally concluded that because of the shortcomings of our lab, we could not do quality testing on the Madagascar tea. So we advised that since we have an MOU with FDA Ghana, the Ministry of Health can take the Madagascar tea to do further investigation on the herbs, because we can't conclusively say if it's 100% safe or not. So that was what happened.
And then did you follow through with the health ministry to see whether the herb was sent to Ghana and the result came back? You saw it? Did you see the result?
Well, we didn't get follow up whether the Madagascar tea was tested. We didn't have a final result coming to us to say, okay, this was tested, because the problem at that time, we even tried ourselves to reach out to Ghana concerning the Madagascar tea. We tried to reach to other countries, Ghana, Nigeria, and the rest of them, to ask them what they think about the Madagascar tea. And everyone at that time had their own health crisis. Everyone was kind of focusing on their own health crisis. So we couldn't already get a result. As a matter of fact, Ghana FDA told us that they were not going to use the Madagascar tea because they had their own herbs.
Okay.
So they couldn't do a total quality check on the Madagascar tea, because carry a quality control test on herbs is somehow more complicated, because you have to check the active ingredients, what they are, and they had their own health crisis and situation. So they couldn't really give us outrightly if they were going to do the test or not.
So what the LMHRA is saying to us that, without attaching the monetary value of the herbs in question, the tea in question, the LMHRA is informing us that the tea was not used in this country and we just trash it or what?
To my knowledge, as far as I'm concerned, because if Ministry of Health called us and wanted to know our expert opinion on it, and we advised them that it should be taken to do quality control testing to investigate the safety of the tea. And from my point, there was no outstanding result given on the tea. So I can't say that it was used, because as a health professional,
you're a pharmacist.
You're a pharmacist that I am. If you don't come back to say, okay, this thing is safe, I won't tell you to go ahead and use it.
Someone would say too, Katura, Madam Smith, that but it seems the LMHRA too did not do her part. You're responsible to regulate, health products and medicines in the country. Certain thing came into the country, and you say you received it. They have, along with the health ministry, you send something to Ghana, and Ghana was going through crisis. I'm not too sure, because Ghana was going through crisis, the WHO testing lab in Ghana will be closed, meaning there was testing going on there. So is it that this thing was not necessary for the country? That's why the government just play low, that, let me put it that way, or it was necessary, but you people were overwhelmed by other things or all of that?
No, we never play low on it. As a matter of fact, we were up and down to really see the results of this tea. We never just play low on it. We went to the Ministry of Health several times. We did our investigation, reached out to partners, we reached out to other regulatory authorities in the sub-region concerning the tea. But let me be very frank with you. I think there is some limitation on testing herbs in the sub-region. There are limitations on testing herbs, doing quality control tests on herbs. So we didn't play low on it. We try our best to see how we could get partners or other people. Even as a matter of fact, even the Ministry of Health from Germany had a discussion with us on this tea. And because there was no clear measure to say this tea is safe, so nobody will say, okay, just go ahead and give it. Because, like I told you, there are limitations on testing herbs in the region. So when GHPP, which is like the Ministry of Health from Germany, reached out to us, Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, because it wasn't only Liberia that got that tea. Sierra Leone also got it. So because there was no clear measure on the safety of it, so that was how no one could outrightly, just say, I will use it. It's like you're going to be using it, like probably you're going to be taking patients to be guinea pig. And I couldn't authorize it as the manager for a regulatory body to say, okay, Ministry of Health, this has been authorized. You can use it. So I didn't authorize it.
Because you didn't get any result from it.
No.
The difficulties involving testing herbs.
Exactly. And the same with Sierra Leone, because like I told you, we had a meeting with Germany. The same with Sierra Leone and Gambia. They said the same thing. They didn't give any authorization to say you can use the Madagascar tea. So it wasn't just pushed aside. I think there was some limitations on how it can be tested and if it's safe. And we didn't want to make use of it. It would seem like we are making our people to be a guinea pig. That's how I think.
Let me ask you something maybe outside of this. What is your involvement? Do your scope of operation? I mean, does your scope of operation extend to the point of some people running into the country and applying, giving people medical services? I came in contact with a group called IM Global. All right. So IM Global has a machine that it claims one can put your thumb here and your entire body gets scanned. Then your health result, your medical result will come out. They test your prostate, infection, urinary analysis, and all of that. Now, many people who have gone there, I have one person who sat there and I paid $1,000 Liberian dollars did the test. The result that was given to me, and I compared that with I went to another hospital for test. That was completely different. I saw that has been very dangerous to the society. So talk to bring it to your attention. Do you have any control in that area? So if it's not your area, I can refer that to another person.
No, that's the LMTC.
Okay, that's right. So would you mind now sharing with me some of the hotlines before I open the lines quickly to hear from the listeners? Let's get the hotlines. Would you mind?
So it's 0888.
Okay, I think I have it. Let me just get it.
0888
Yeah.
140
0888
140
555. Another one.
0777 140.
Okay.
The same thing.
All right. 140
555.
So when you call this number, what do you get?
You can just ask not only on the vaccines. If you have some information to give on medicines or health products, you can call us, contact us. If you've seen a pharmacy that's probably not even storing their medicines well, if you see people bringing in medicine from across the borders, you can call us and just contact us and our inspectors will be there.
You need the public to get involved in your work?
Yes.
How much do you need the public? How aware do you? Because you're advancing. I know you're giving the public some education. Now you're inviting the public to join you to do the work. What result do you expect to get from the involvement of the public?
I'm amazed. Seriously, we've been having most medicines that have been recalled from the market, probably because the public noticed there is some mold on the medicine, or the medicine don't look right, or sometimes they even see truck coming from Guinea, Sierra Leone. They always have us informed. So the public have been heavily, helping us on this process. And that's what, really amazed me to see that Liberians are concerned about their health and they are willing to help.
All right, you're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1. We are privileged this morning to have with us the head of the LMHRA, Liberia Medicines Health Products Regulatory Authority. You're there watching us anywhere around the world on Facebook, Sky Communications Liberia Facebook page, on YouTube, Sky FM and TV Liberia. You can join us, call us now on, we can call us on Messenger, Sky Liberia, or better still, WhatsApp on 0777 221 223. Anywhere around the world you are, you can join us. This is Liberia. We're talking about health products, medicines, and health products. So you have the head of the entity that's responsible to regulate all medicines in the country and all health products. So before I take the first, madam, would you mind, the medicines already define itself. How about health products? What are those things that form part of health products?
Health products could be cream, medical devices, for instance, medical devices, cream, sanitary pads, body lotion.
So even those who doing cosmetic business, they fall
under. As a matter of fact, that's why we have 4 units that's going to be constructed under the quality control lab. We're going to have the physiochemical lab, we're going to have the medical devices lab, and we're going to have cosmetics lab and microbiology lab. So there's a possibility for us to also test cosmetics as well.
That's a good one. We really pray with you that can be completed quickly and see Liberia, taking its own responsibility in his hands. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
My name is BNG Connor, and I joined the conversation from district number 14.
Go ahead, sir. You have a question or you have a comment? Let's hear you, sir.
Thank you, Mata, for always. I want to say good morning to you and good morning to your studio girl.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. My concern has to do with the first thing they had. I did listen to your girls in studio. She said that yesterday that the institution is responsible to test the drugs as to whether it's safe to be consumed by the Liberians.
Mm-hmm.
So my question saying, she said that the drugs, they don't have that particular sophistication in Africa to test the drugs. So my questions to her, why did why did the institution did not contact the World Health Organization or other institutions at least to get some advice on the drug before you see the taxpayer money on it? That's my first concern. And the second one has to do with people that sell drugs in a bucket. Now, if you look into our community, they are visible. And some of them buy the drugs from the whole stuff and they are passing away in the community. Those drugs will remain in the bucket and get expired. You don't need to leave. They are all around in the community. So my concern has to do with the heat of them. We are faced with a serious challenge in Mosorado. We are seeing people passing with drugs that are being expired. What about the heat on them? People in camp go to and other places that you don't even have a pharmacy. Are you saying that you have a regulatory team in those places that can regulate people that would tell the people that yes, indeed, drugs is harmful or they want is not harmful? And the third one, I want to make a recommendation.
Go ahead.
That has to do with the clinical vaccine. If actually institution want the Liberians to actually confide in the vaccine and consume it, it should not be done behind closed doors. At least they can have a television program or other thing that when the dignitaries have been vaccinated, then the Liberian people see it because they have to take the lead. I think what some of these things are done, that yes, indeed, people will confide in it and will go for their vaccine. But if it is done behind closed doors, trust me, people will believe that yes, indeed, it's just a trick to get there. They will not get it.
Thank you. Let's give other people a chance too. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning. Good morning. All right, that person left the line. So call us too on the numbers 0777 107 0777 07 0777 107 0777 221 223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. So when we bring you the people responsible to answer some questions, you tap into that opportunity and ask your questions, like the brother just did from Claratown. Can we take that other person on the line? Call us on those numbers 0777 107 0777 221 223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate. Good morning. Good morning. Let's hear you. Good morning. All right, the producer said you don't have to keep these people on the line before they start, saying that I'm the one that usually eat their credit. Let's see. So call us on those numbers: 0777 221 I know my brother, you saying you think you're running out of time. Give her a chance to respond to my question. While you're expecting calls, exactly that's what I'm going to do now. So, would you want to comment on some of the things he said?
So maybe he misunderstood me, but I didn't say all medicines we don't have the capability of testing it. I was referring to the herbal medicine, the Madagascar tea, that there are some limitations on carry on quality control testing. That was what I was referring to. And like I told you, we reached out.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. Me interrupt you a little bit. Let me get you. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Natalia.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Your use 4 minutes from me as for free.
I got a buying credit to do.
No. On a serious note.
I tell you.
First man I call, I want the first thing to take my man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stay so long, man. When I can't you're talking to me and hearing, but you're not hearing me. That's the problem for your system.
I'm so sorry. The producers.
Thank you.
I think they're being problem with me today. Go ahead.
No, let us go to the issue. Good morning, madam. How you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah, madam, I have so much problem with the drugs in our country. You know the drug are both purchased by the Nigerian people. It's Cipro.
Cipro?
You go to Sonia Pharmacy. I don't want to have the pharmacy name. It's Sonia.
Where is it? Because there are a lot of...
Yeah, they have a lot of branches. They have one branch at Princeton Junction. This is John D. Tama. You check to Princeton Junction branch. My brother, the drugs they have in there are called Cipro. It's not different for Kisawa. They have Cipro because normally some all come down with typhoid. And normally we purchase Cipro because of typhoid. The Cipro they have there some part of last year, it's quite different from what they have right now. Some of the drugs that they have in the pharmacy, you know what they're doing, madam? If some of you can even upper or splash cut, we will give you some information on people that are bringing those bad drugs in our country. On a serious note, most of the drugs are being smuggled from Guinea. This is bad. So, Natalia, you will take the medicine, and you know the funny way that you better taking the medicine before you get well. But for this one, if you take it until that signal not get well. Wow. More especially the Cipro. The Cipro are in a short pack. That Cipro is duplicate. It's been sold by Sonia Pharmacy.
Okay.
Madam, you need to check the dollar entering point. Let me tell you something. When those guys bring continual load of drugs, you people test those drugs. They have other drugs that come from undercover and mix it out with the other drugs that you gotta test it and place it into your pharmacy.
I agree.
Totally agree. We've been receiving a lot of information like that. Yes.
You understand? This is what the people are doing to us. This is why you will see the post about people like this. You think that the man enjoy, the man not enjoying. Some of the bad drugs people taking around here about making people getting so big around here.
Yeah.
So you need to empower some of us. We didn't need salary for you. It's just a scratch now so that will be able to call your office so that will get some of the work information that coming in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe you have to set up the public decks at the LMHRA. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Mantara.
Good morning, Mr. David E. Harris.
Yeah, thank you for your recognition. Good morning to your studio guest.
Go ahead.
The first thing I want to know, whether the lab that is being constructed, whether it's being funded by the Liberian government or the World Health Organization.
Oh my God.
The next thing, my next concern, Matthias, I did listen to your studio guest, and he said our inspector will not be everywhere at all times. Then the question is, why are they a regulator entity to regulate pharmacy in the country? If you are telling us that your inspector will not be everywhere at all times, I think your inspector needs to be everywhere at all times to regulate things. Because I think it is the ineffectiveness of this entity that gotten expired drugs to be on the scale of pharmacy. Mateo, it will surprise you to know that when you get to pharmacy,
Can you be specific, Mr. Harris? Like Tamba did right now, right now we want to do the show in a way that we can also get some you the citizens. Can you be specific about a particular pharmacy that you visited?
Yeah, I've already taken the number. But let me address my issue.
Oh, you don't intend to do that on the radio? No problem. That's all right. Go ahead.
The number. When you go to some of those pharmacies, you will find out that you will see your specific drugs on the shelf. You see expiring date 2021, and you will see September on it. It's still on the shelf.
I think she can address that.
I bought a medicine in a pharmacy one time, and the medicine was already expired in 2020. I took the photo, boy, on my phone. I don't know what I still in my phone. I will try to check in my phone. And I want to know how many inspectors she get calling the entire country. Thank you, bro. All people have a call. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. You talk about how many inspectors covering the entire country. But you two can do the same. Call us on those numbers, 0777-777-107. So the discussion is mostly, surrounding around drugs now. A lot of things. And that's what the public is, a lot of people just take risks out there. You buy drugs from people in buckets. So they get concerned now. They get to the drugstore now. Anyway, she's going to address those issues. But here you now to call us on those numbers, 0777-777-107. 0777-221-223 are the numbers you can call us and to participate on the program. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Mataya.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Okay, this is Samson Kappa calling from Central People.
Mr. Kappa, please go right ahead.
Yeah, thank God the issue has come to the public clear. As a nation, Liberia, over the years, we know that most of these drugs are being manufactured either in Nigeria or India. I mean, what is the intention of the Liberian government through the Drug Enforcement Agency to see that we can see a lot? So let me tell you.
No, I didn't get that part. Hello, Mr. Kappa.
Yeah, hello?
Mr. Kappa, please be clear so she can understand you because I don't want you to give.
Yeah, what I want to say is that do they have the intention to manufacture drugs in Liberia? So, I don't see why.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have another person? I just want to inform you, the public, please. This is a radio. Yeah. We don't want people calling on unknown numbers. If you do that, we put you on whatever you say, we'll be responsible. We can't even take you. So producers are very, smart, and I just got the message from one of the producers that a lot of people calling unknown numbers. It's not if you don't intend to report any pharmacy, like Mr. Tamba did, we boldly reported Sonia Pharmacy. The numbers are 0888-140-555, 0877-140-555. I repeat, 0888-140-555, 0877-140-555. So until she can set up the public decks, which I'm recommending that be there, public decks that you can go directly. If you maybe get your scratch card, if that's something she will consider doing, maybe. I'm not trying to put. Let's talk to this last pressing. Good morning.
Yeah, Nataya.
Yes, sir.
Tamba.
Yeah, Mr. Tamba, 30 seconds.
I want to ask the madam again. The drugs factory that they're currently building in Liberia here, are you people working in line with those people? Because the drugs factory have been built by Nessie Olonyama somewhere around Corwell Road, opposite AGN Road.
How would you know that it's a drug factory, my man? I just building you looking at now. They will not start manufacturing drugs here. Is it a drug factory?
Listen, Nataya.
Yes, sir.
Make no mistake. I worked in our system before. I uploaded the machine.
Okay.
Nataya, I'm an operator. I operate all machines. Okay. So I saw the equipment coming down. So I want to find out from the woman why are they in line with those people to know which drugs they will be producing in Liberia here.
Okay.
So if they're in line, they'll probably want to know. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Please, the last person now, so we can hear from her finally. And she just wrap up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Kimaya, speaking from Down Street, Snapper Hill.
Let's hear you, Mr. Kimaya.
Yeah, this is a good venture. I always hear jingles that people who should not buy drugs on the street, but you should be proactive. Proactive in the sense that if you go to any pharmacy, you look around and peruse whatever the drugs will be, and you go like a buyer. You don't go like you're an inspector. I think you catch other pharmacists. And in all of the child seller years, they caught some guy bringing false medicine in the country. They are just part of like stash in those things. What if the drug, the Liberian economy is influenced by false drugs? That means that the COVID and the health system will be down. and the country economy and the citizen will be down. They don't have Liberia. So you have to be very rigorous and have your hotline that others are suspected in other dubious side of this drug entry will report to your hotline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to announce the hotlines again. Watch your response to your question. LMHRA hotlines are 088814055, 088814055, and 07777140555. This is something I'm going to endeavor to do every morning on a show in the afternoon because it's about the public. I don't have to get paid for this, but it's something that you can just pick up this number, get the issue. Maybe you're even going to have to reduce the work of the inspectors out there. Anyway, there you have it, madam.
You know if you can crash car as well. Okay, so I like the caller that just went straight to the point and said Sonia Pharmacy have this, and like I told you previously, we've been having a lot of those people, and that's how most of these medicines have been recalled from the market and incinerated, burned. So I promise you, my brother, we're definitely going to check there immediately I get back to the office. Thank you so much for that, and I encourage you and the rest of everyone to please make that their responsibility, that once you see this, you call those numbers that were announced. Our health is in our hands. It's not about myself. It's not about only my family, because I have everyone that I love in this country. So I just like to be realistic. It's not what is right now. The inspectors are not at station at every pharmacy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it to say, oh yes, the inspectors are on top of the game. They're at every pharmacy. That's why we have these numbers for you to call once you see something like this, happening. So I encourage you highly to please call and make that call all the time, and then you see if your situation or your plight is not redressed.
Mr. Harris said, is the government of Liberia funding the construction of the lab?
So I'm going through the question. It's like you are so you are so concerned about that. Like I told you, I said, because most time partners will want to see what your government can do.
Yeah.
So the Global Fund told us clearly that they want to see what the government can do. And the government has made some commitment to the foundation of that lab.
Okay.
So the government is involved with it. Global Fund is involved with it. And WHO is involved with it. Any partner that want to be involved with it, you are welcome, because we need help. Okay. Yeah. So as per the Global Pharmaceutical Local Manufacturing Company that he talked about, that is so true.
It's true, right?
Yes, it's so true.
You're aware of it?
We are aware of it. And we have been working with them even today, because we schedule every meeting, the team meet with them every Thursday. So my technical team is fully aware of it. We don't want it to start something, like I said, concerning the lab. You just start something, at the end of the day it's condemned. So we told from
the foundation you've been involved.
Yeah. We told the CEO that we have to be aware of this thing. You have to follow all the procedures, and I can clearly tell you he is willing to follow everything we recommend to him. He has been willing, and we've been working with him seriously on how we can at least try to manufacture our own drugs instead of going to other countries. That will be more, assured of the quality.
Yeah.
And he is really working with us on it. So we are at border points, like my mom that called, or my sister that called. We are at border points. We are at Water side. We are at Nimba. We are at border points. Liberia is very porous. So we are at the main border points. Our inspectors are there. And we have been receiving a lot of medicine coming in the country that has been taken away by these people. Even quite 2 days ago, a lady came to me that she decided to business, go Sierra Leone and buy medicine and this and that. I told her that we don't do medicine business that way. There are procedures. You can it's not just pepper or clothes that you just go Sierra Leone, Guinea. You say, me buy the paracetamol and bring it to Liberia. Because her market was seized. And she was like appealing to me, can I please allow them to? I said, I can't do that. It will be against what I stand for. I can't release your products to you. Though I feel for you, but I can't release your products to you because it's against the law. So we are at every border point.
All right. You don't have inspectors. Now you talk about number. Anyway, you didn't state how many inspectors in total. So just to conclude quickly, madam, you've outlined, I want to personally appreciate you. I had a conversation with you. Immediately you took over. I think one of the first journalists you met, and you sat in my studio, we discussed. You've done some work, some improvements have been made. My last thing I want to throw out to you is that the public should be the people that you can rely on mostly to ensure that this work is done. You can have even 10 inspectors out there, but you can get better results if the public gets involved, like what Tamba just did. You can easily assign an inspector, which most especially they are always this in disguise, right? So that person can go and do some follow-up. By the way, the drug CPRO, what does it do as you wrap up?
Okay, Cipro is an antibiotic. It's taken for typhoid and other urinary tract infections. So, like he stated, and there have been several cases where sometimes because of the way these medicines are kept, they tend to deteriorate. The active ingredient tend to deteriorate. And then it's also possible, which we have been getting information, like he stated, sometimes these people, they buy the right medicine that they know will go through our system. And then market person or business person will always want to maximize their profit. And then they go and get a cheaper one from the neighboring country. So we are definitely going to check on that.
Thank you so much. She's pharmacist Kateria C. Smith. She's the managing director of the Liberia Medicines Health Products Regulatory Authority. That's all the time we have for today's edition of the program, Straight from the Heart. Our motivational message is from Professor Paul Lumumba. On the 13th of April 2021, he said to the people of Kenya, he said, "Dear Kenyans, in the search for a chief justice, we must not, on the excuse of diversity, sacrifice merit at the altar of ethnicity." My name is Matthias Lalima.
Parrot with a sore throat and a cold in the head